All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sunny day. We got some clouds out there, but we also got some sun, and it ain't too cold out. I mean, it's a little chilly. Hopefully, we get some more snow up here. We want to really try and kill most of this crap that these honkies been spreading all over, anthrax and ricin or whatever. So we're gonna try and make it cold again up here up north. Uh, Try and kill some of this stuff, water it down, whatever. So, like I said, we're getting ready in this little town. We're building cases against these people, huge cases, uh, involving corruption, numerous stuff, right? A lot of people are coming in on this. And witchery, sorcery, yes, it is true. That's what they've been using on me since I was a child. They've been stealing a lot from me. Uh, they're not going to tell you that, but like I said, we're building this case in town of corruption that a lot of people, and I do want to thank these people pointing these other people out that the town was corrupt, right? I've been in this apartment for probably 14 years or something. The only time I go outside is if I got to go get something to eat, the store, or go rake leaves for an older couple that I do work for in the summer. So I don't get out to see stuff. Now I know there's been a lot of stuff going on in town. A lot of ambulances, a lot of, police and everything. But I didn't know they were corrupt. I didn't know how deep it went. And they pointed it out. A couple of these businesses are wrapped up into it and actually being watched, right? Well, who knew, right? Who knew? But I guess that's what they do. But other than that, it's a beautiful day, right? Clouds in the sky, beautiful day. Of course, I got people trespassing on me and using witchery and sorcery on me, as always. Now, like I said, we are building a case against America in numerous places. And boy, is it a strong case. Like I said, we didn't know about this crap, the child trafficking, the witchery, the sorcery, uh, the gangs and everything, We had no idea, right? We're used to seeing Amish driving around, which I think 40 or 50% of this town is Amish. Uh, and they're peaceful people. They don't go out looking for trouble, right? And they also get the blame for everything, right? I don't know how, but they always get the blame for everything. So we're just going to chill and relax. You know, Now, how deep does it go? Is there a connection with the bikers? Well, I think so. They had the prosecutor out here that was a biker, I guess, motorcycle rider. I think a Harley rider or whatever. So is it kind of weird how stuff's been, going on? They brought in this motorcycle leather shop in town. It's a small shop. I've been in there. It's pretty nice. They got all kinds of stuff. Very expensive, but very nice. And now the bikers are coming in, right? The shop at the shop. But see, other guys been sitting out here going, they're trying to make a power move to take over the town. And the reason why is because, like I said before, we got a lot of problems in Indiana with these bikers. It didn't help that Trump said he loves his bikers. These guys are wanted for numerous things. But it makes sense, right? The devil takes care of their own. It makes sense. So what are they doing? Well, they're building the case. They're building the case, right? Yes, there's trafficking out here. There's zip ties all over in the parking lots. That is meaning they're trying to mark somebody. I think they found out they had cameras at the one store. So they probably didn't see that camera that was up underneath the yawning, pointing towards the parking lot. So I imagine that's probably what it is. Now, like I said, these boys are corrupt. And there's a lot of YouTubers and other people coming and saying, hey, Johnny, your little town is corrupt. And I was like, I had no idea. We'll get everything set up for you guys to come in. We'll go, this will the only way you can do this is war. That's the only thing, the only way you can get this settled. You're going to have to use firepower. You're going to have to use stuff because they already have it here. And like I said, we're going to try and turn it cold again here up north here because we want to water down this crap that they've been spreading all over. Yeah, some of you, yeah, it wasn't the plague, probably anthrax, some black spots on your arms, yeah. Um, yeah, well, like I said, we need doctors. And yeah, there's even some doctors and nurses in on this case that they're building. Right? This was a deliberate thing, right? When people go in there sick and they come out worse than what they were, yeah, that's bad. And they're trying to make it where they're not sued. They can't be sued. Well, they can't be sued, but they can be taken out. And that's really what's going on. And they can't stop it, folks. This is a citizen's uh, investigation against these people. And that is the American people's rights. And yes, the police department there is a camera watching them. There is numerous cameras set up. And there's nothing you could do about it. And if you keep harassing these people, we're going to have no choice but to make arrests on these cops. Now, we have gone ahead and we've tracked these people to being related to some of these police or within business with these police. See? So, like I said, we do have the authority now to take these people. Of course, we can't try the case here, right? We're going to have to move this case out of the state. It's just too much. And that's what they should have did with Delphi. They should have pumped it out. They should have moved it to a different state because it was just too corrupt. No, I know you brought Trump in. You think Trump's going to change it. It ain't working, folks. The tides are turning, right? They made sure they tunneled underground. They've done a lot of stuff to prepare for this, right? And I haven't been paying attention to it because I've been locked in this little apartment. But around me, supposedly, they're preparing. I guess this is the only thing you could do, right? Now, of course, they're going to blame the Amish, but the Amish don't have anything to do with this. These people are looking for an excuse. We know exactly what businesses are involved out here, and they go to the dark side to get protection or whatever it is. It's like a racket. No different than the mafioso days, right? It's just a bunch of country boys out here or whatever. So the case goes on. We're preparing for war. We are pushing war, Mr. Trump. I don't know if you can hear this or not, Pentagon. We are pushing 100% war in America. If not, we can stop that war if you bring these people to justice. And you return our properties and our health and everything else. But until then, no. The case is built. They have enough evidence. We even have evidence that these bikers were actually helping each other out within the court system, pleading lesser charges, getting lesser charges. Well, from what they're saying, there's a prosecutor or whatever, or a district attorney or whatever, here in town that's right next to the courtyard. That is a Harley Davidson rider, a bike rider, right? So that explains why these guys been getting off with a little spanking on the hand, right? Corruption, right? It's gone so deep that people now have prepared for mass destruction, Mr. Trump. How are you going to handle this? Yeah, you can't send some idiot thinking he's going to handle it, Mr. Trump. I would get your ass out here, Mr. Trump, and come to this town and set the law straight with these people. That's what I would do. But you ain't me, and I ain't you, right? But that's what I would do, President Trump. I would get out here and settle it for yourself. Don't send some schmo. Come out here and take care of this problem yourself. Because as far as they're considered, this this town has become a white racist organization and is in the computer longitude and latitude for destruction. And you don't control the computer, Mr. Trump. I understand you. You don't run the military, right? You give orders, and if the military don't and think it's a bad idea, they'll tell you, hey, I wouldn't be doing that, right? Which they already told you that, but you fired them and you hired new generals that'll just tell you yes, 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 yes. And that's very bad, Mr. President Trump. Very bad to have a yes man, because that yes man will get your head put on a silver platter, which that's what they're trying to do to you, Mr. Trump. That's definitely what they're trying to do to you. So, like I said, we believe 100% that these secret societies exist. They are terrorists. Uh, these biker clubs are terrorist organizations. The CIA, Homeland, FBI has put them on a list. You can go and look for yourself. All these gangs and clubs, numerous people, even the farmers, from what some of these people are saying, have been poisoning people with stuff. So it makes total sense to me that America is up for destruction. It is in the computer, the supercomputer, and even the supercomputer said it's a haven for evil. And let's not even talk about the witchery and sorcery they've been doing on me, Mr. Trump. You know, I was kidnapped at a young age, right? Young age, I was kidnapped, or walked out my door and walked, and someone found me in the hallway. Thank God they found me. My, family came looking for me, but I've had a rough life, and I'd rather kill you all than just sit here and go back and forth and deal with this witchery and sorcery. Feels like they're ripping my guts out. I did have 3 days, President Trump, of no pain at all. I felt great. My body, I felt great. I couldn't believe I was a miracle. I even thanked Jesus. I was like, thank you for the 3 days of not being. And then it was like, boom, the trespassers came back in. So, like I said, Mr. President Trump, we are ready for full scale madness. You can send the police here and they could do whatever, but this has all been handed over to other people. And once you hit me, they're going to wipe everything out in this town. Sorry, sir. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get justice for me, my family, and the rest of this country and the working man. These people will get justice, whether it's lit in a candle, whether it's using their own biological weapons like they used against us. We're going to get the job done, sir. Don't you worry about it. You just sit back there in the Oval Office and we'll handle this. Now, be safe. There's been a lot of swollen cows on trailers driving around. It's probably that shit they've been feeding them, the mad cow. And, this will teach you folks. Don't ever fire food inspectors and farm inspectors to go out. They used to inspect farms. They would go to a farm and inspect it. And if it was just horrible, they'd shut that farm down. But you don't do the things you used to do, Mr. Trump. And it's proven because your country's about 3 days away from another attack. And we warned you. Nobody listened. we took things into our own hands out here, and we're pretty much prepared to get justice for these people that have been swindled, railroaded, fraudulent operations. Some of you got kidneys that are missing. You never knew about it. That's the way they've been doing, Mr. President Trump. And we're sending this out to all the courts and all the politicians and everybody in Indiana and in America. I agree, Danny. Heavy duty diesel, right? Down there. This might cause a civil war. We're all in. Screw these people. We're going to shut them down. They're not going to be able to use. We're going to shut all the planes down. They won't be able to use the military. We're trying to talk to the military. They'll come in with us. Because we know they're gonna try and call in the military, but they're not going to use the military on us. I think the military's on our side. They just ain't getting stuff done. Mr. Trump has control of a very small portion of the military, and that's it. And as we speak now, things are being put in place. So, yeah, like I said, until this country pays justification for the hard life we all had. No, I know what you're going to say. Oh, but you're just a sissy. Yeah, sure. And of course, whenever we're older, you do that, right? You wouldn't have said that to me when I was in my 30s. I probably would have ripped your throat out. I mean, that's why most of us went to, you can't eat people's eyeballs, but I did. So, like I said, if you would have caught me when I was in my 30s, I would have killed you in a heartbeat right there. Ripped your throat right out of your. Have you ever seen that? It is possible to do. I'm just letting you folks know. It is possible to rip a man's esophagus right out of his throat. They thought it was all movies. I'm like, no, it ain't movies. It ain't. Right? In 75, I ate a dude's eyeball right in front of his family. Poked it out with my thumb. Chewed on it in front of him and said, you want to see crazy? I'll show you crazy. Of course, I had to do a little bit of time for that. He didn't die, but he did lose an eye. Yeah, we can give two shits about your laws because they're fake. They're there to protect your corrupt people and your corrupt town. So we got everything. We got drones flying around in the sky that look like hawks, that look like vulture. We got everything ready here, Mr. Trump. Like I said, this world is going to give me what it owes me, what it stole from me. And you ain't going to get shit done in this country. You folks, you punks, blamed many countries. It was Russia, China, Japan. It was many. We contacted them countries and we let them know. No, it ain't us. It's these clubs. It's these idiots. Now, they'll be looking for you folks on your tour out there, your tours. I'd be safe out there, right? Plus, some of these guys are already going back to prison, or I think, right? This whole country rap war crap that they created. Hell, most of them got records longer than their arms. Hello, Miss Rebecca Ann. So they are building one heck of a case against America. It's unbelievable. Now, if you go by the law, yeah, it's a slam dunk case. They've been cutting deals with killers. And that's why we put in place certain things, Mr. Trump. Do these people know the justice system or at least our military? See, you can't just do things. You have to go through channels. Them channels are Congress and Senate, right? Them other divisions of government were put in place just in case one of our governments went rogue, right? Which that's what they think is going on. It's corrupt, right? It is corrupt. Now, I can tell you this much, President Trump. We've had people that were so-called covered under this Medicaid, Medicare thing. They were scammed, right? They were supposed to get uh, supposedly free teeth the first time or something like that, and or two pairs of teeth and an eyeglasses or whatever. They never received that. Well, sure, they were charged for it, but they never received it. So it's just scam on top of scam. Some of these people did go get operations. I'm sorry to say, some of them are missing organs. Someone needed them organs and paid a lot of money for them. So these are the things that are going on in your country, Mr. Trump, and in Indiana. There's talk now uh, about the KKK, uh, bringing them in to hit these guys. Um, maybe, maybe it ain't the KKK. We're not. People are like, "Oh, that Delphi thing could be KK." No, that it wasn't the KKK. Uh, but Indiana is the home of. It's the home base of the KKK, but it wasn't them. Uh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure really. But you got a really mess in Indiana, President Trump. Horribly. I don't know if it was Mikey that left you this mess, this war in Indiana. But when they used biological chemicals on people, it was all over the news. Trump, do your history. And you know, once they used them biological chemicals, Mr. Trump, that was free range for us in the military to use our bios on them. Now, we didn't, but you know we can. That is terrorist acts. That is grounds of our invasion of a country. Now, I could have made the call and brought in my beloved Mother Green and the ass kicking machine and dropped one thing down there and wiped them all out. And that's what we might have to do, Mr. Trump. I hope you're listening because you got a serious problem that you inherited. And that's just it. It's your inheritance, your madness, not mine. I don't make the 450,000 a year to run the show. You know, I'm lucky to get 800 from this government. Good morning, Debbie Fox. Yes, Rebecca Ann, I agree. Now, like I said, this has been going on for a while. This was going on before Trump got in there. This was going on for a long time. These people were cursing people to get a vote out of them, literally putting curses and spells on these people to make sure they went in. And here's the other kicker. We found out that these companies and businesses were actually using witchery and sorcery to collect money. They were putting curses on people and madness to collect money. Now, we did also connect them to some doctors and nurses, see, which they were the ones that told them, hey, I know the broad at is sick at LA Express or whatever, but you know, they didn't have to expose that to everybody, right? We know that these people are sick. They didn't have to expose that. But I think that's what they were doing. They were so pissed because I just was not going to let them roll over us. And we rolled over them. And, you know, I'm really sorry it turned out that way, folks, but it's going to get a lot worse. I'm not going to lie to you. It is going to be a lot worse in this little town. Like I said, last night, I got attacked again by this thing while I was doing a video. And that's enough for me, Mr. Trump, to call war in America and drop the biggest, baddest thing. And I'm not going to drop nothing. We're going to use the laser from above. And that is grounds for termination of your country. And we got 30, or we got, I think we got 10 or 12 other countries that are coming on saying, yeah, this was madness. We're going to, We're going to do that. And then we got, throw on top of that, we got Elon saying these people are vampires. Uh, yeah, this is everything we needed to hear to go full scale, crazy madness war. Of course, we know we have the bunkers. We will get to the bunkers before all this happens. So I would probably get out here and get this mess cleaned up. They owe me trillions, right? They owe me a lot of money. Every single business, just about Mr. Trump. Now I know the movie, music, but we're letting the music go. But the movie, I know that's just crazy and everything, right? We didn't buy that shit. Hey, what's his name, Trelinsky? Right? How dare you step into the people's house without having a suit and tie on? You're dressed like you're making an effing movie for Star Trek. There ain't nobody gonna believe your ass. Stay off my movie set. You understand? Stay off of my movie set. If you want to talk to me, have Sean Penn call me. Right? Then I'll decide whether to talk to you or not. I have no beef with you, Mr. Trelinsky. But when it looks like you're making a movie, I can't dump normal money into this shit. I can't do it. We're out of that. We got our own movie going here in America. Now, you boys in Indiana down there at the FBI Bureau, I know you know me. I've been busting your balls for a while, right? But we're going to get to the end of this little thing with the Delphi, people screaming out, what about Delphi and everything? Well, it was a racket, folks. When we got other crimes that were in other states connecting back to the southern Indiana Delphi shit and their crews and the Kokomo crew and all these guys, yeah, I'd say it's a living hell, but it won't be. We're going to draw a line in Indiana. This is what we're doing, Mr. Trump. We're drawing a line halfway down Indiana. That southern part where all this madness is coming from has got to go bye-bye. Now we're not gonna use BIOS like these people did to us. But what we are gonna do, it's going bye-bye. You can't stop it. You don't want to stop it. And I don't believe it's the KKK. KKK don't ride Harleys. They're not bikers. Right? They dress up as this neo-Nazi stuff. And them ain't the guys that are doing it. It ain't the KKK. Right? I've seen a couple Delphi video. People are saying, well, that's the KKK's down. Yes, that is true. Indiana is home base for the KKK, but it wasn't the KKK that did them murders. These guys want to blame everybody. We got mafia coming in here, Mr. Trump. We got other organization bikers coming to fight this war against these people. They blamed people they shouldn't have. They locked people up they shouldn't have. They let people lose their homes that shouldn't have lost their homes. They let people write up fraudulent home loans that they shouldn't have. They done a lot of stuff that's bad, Mr. Trump. Like I said, you hired us to do a job, and we're going to do that job. We will get to these people no matter what. We will use everything in our power, except for BIOS right now. We won't use any of our military BIOS yet. Okay, so we'll handle this a different way, but this country's going. We're having a problem out there at the East Coast too, again, Mr. Trump. I know you're trying to help out New York, but there ain't no help. There ain't nothing, right? Let me see what Debbie says. KKK doesn't run around killing kids. No, they don't do stuff like that. Not unless the KKK became the Odins or the Lokis, or whatever they call them, or the Vandals. Unless the KKK switched to these organizations, but I don't think so. No, I don't think they probably killed the two white girls either. They're looking into it, but I'm like, no, I wasn't no KKK. Not unless one of these guys are secretly KKK. These guys might belong to like 5 or 6 organizations secretly, where the other organization don't know. But this is a case building. It's continued to build on this channel. I've seen the corruption. I've seen the possession. I've seen the witchery and the sorcery that these people are doing. I'm witness to it. They've done it unto me. Like I said, for over 10 years, I was crumpled up here on the couch. And then just a couple days ago, man, it was like a miracle. My body felt so good. I just felt great. I was like, this is what I used to feel like. And I don't know what happened. Boom, it happened again. Like people were just tearing my guts out. I could feel it entering me. It was literally, I could feel it. Or these things or this curse, I could feel it entering me. So we do believe in the devil and we want to kill the devil. Do you understand, Mr. Trump? We are tired of the witchery, sorcery, magic. We're tired of the gas wars. We're tired of all kinds of shit in our country. We're trying to tell you, nip it in the bud, President Trump, because you ain't got control of the military. You ain't got control of what you think you got control of. You sure the hell ain't getting the F-86 and 88 and 87. You ain't getting none of this shit until this shit is fixed, until my life is back to where it was. Now, whether it's witchery or sorcery, I don't care. Tie her up to a telephone pole and burn her. That's what they did back in the old days, right? It's a vampire. Chop his head off. Right? How serious do you want to get, Mr. President Trump? Pentagon. How serious? Congress, Senate. How serious you want this? We'll go full blown. Complete effing madness. I'll use my lasers. Wipe everything out. How much do you want to go? How much money you got is my question. Right? How much money you got to spend? How deep do you want this to go? You want to use bios? We'll bust out the military laboratory stuff. Not know some shit these guys been cooking in their basements down there, down south, ricin and shit. The real shit. Not this anthrax they've been making out of dare poop, which might kill you, but it ain't professional anthrax milled from a lab and military lab. But we got that shit, and we're ready to rock and roll, Mr. Trump. We're ready. Whatever you want to do. This is going to be, and we're also going to film all this. It's going to be an incredible movie. It's going to be real live action, real live movie, which we already been doing here on this channel. It's all a movie. It's all a skit. It's all everything, right? Let me see what Debbie said. I knew so many members in Florida. They weren't my friends, just acquaintances. Rebecca Ann says, good for you. Glad you're better. I'm not better. I was for 3 days. For 3 days, I felt great. I was like, oh my God. Right? I couldn't believe it. I felt great. I really did. I actually thanked Jesus. I was like, thank you, Jesus. But that didn't last long because this thing got back into me or something. I want it gone. Family curse, whatever it is, I want it gone. I want everything gone. I want to wake up tomorrow and just see blue skies, clouds, and nothing around me. Literally, just trees, no houses, nothing. I just want to see trees, sun, cloud, and nothing around here. Just all ashes. That's what I want, Joe. See, because for 50 some years, I went ahead and I was Johnny Do-Good, as you raped and pillaged and stole everything I got. Well, the Lord said, now the rest of my life, I get to whoop the shit out of your country and this earth. And that's what pretty much we're going to do, unless you got money. See, we're going to blackmail you like you blackmailed me. Right? Now, I could do that if I want, but I'm not going to because I'm above you. See, I forgive you, people. It don't make it right. You are going to have to pay restitution. It don't make it right. I forgive you. Right? I'm not going to hold a grudge against you. That's the Lord's job to hold the grudge. But as far as I'm concerned, I forgive you people, even though you killed me and did all kinds of crazy shit. But like I said, we're waiting for these honkies to pop off again, Mr. Trump, in America. It's a shame what they did to our beloved military school and how. Did you hear what happened there, Mr. Trump? You probably didn't. They probably lied like a son of a gun to you. They didn't run out of money there. It was all over the news out here and in the paper that something was happening to the children, Mr. Trump, at the Howell Military School. Of course, they didn't find a couple of them guys, but like I said, we're not falling for your bullshit tactics in this country anymore. And it's a shame what happened to them people. And it's a shame they had to shut down that cadet school. It is an effing shame. Literally, the money we spent on it, the solar panels itself is more than what the place was worth. The solar panel field was probably worth more than the building, although they're beautiful old buildings. Beautiful, beautiful. I think before the military school, it was a church or something, like a sanctuary, a monk's place or something. Well, the case goes on. What cadet school you talking about? The cadet school right down the road here, Howell Military Cadet School. I showed it to you on the video that one day. They are all privately owned. No, it was a military school. The government now is trying to say they couldn't afford to keep it up, so they sold it. But that's not actually what happened. They closed it down for something else. Now, whether this news is right or not, I don't know if the news or the newspapers were right. Trump's been saying something about fake news. Well, I don't know about that, Mr. Trump. I don't run the news out here, and I don't run the newspapers out here. So you might be right, but let me see if I could pull it up for you, Debbie, on the Google map real quick. I'll show you. Right now, it's, I think, a college bought it. All right, let me see here, Deborah. See if I can't pull it up real quick. I'm telling you, it is beautiful. I'm telling you, I would have bought the place and turned it into a home. It was just beautiful. Now it's got like 7 buildings around it. It's got its own solar panel. It's sold for 3 million only. I would have bought it for that. Jesus. But what they do is they tell people different prices on stuff here. It's like if you're with their little club, their little church, their gang, whatever it is, you'll get a better deal, right? So people are trying to buy property out here, but they're saying, "Oh no, you can't buy that." Or they're giving outrageous prices, and people are like, "What the?" Heck? And then their boys come in and buy it, right? Their boys come in and buy it for a cheap price. This is the Howell Military School in Howell, Indiana, right down the street here. It's right down the street from me. I don't know, maybe about 8 minutes away, if that, not even. Yeah, this is the academy. It is no longer this. Let me see if there's any other photos here. Yeah, here it is. Here it is, Debbie. Some old photos. And this is the whole grounds, all of this property. And as you can see, there is no solar panels here because at that time they didn't come up with solar panels yet. But now this whole field over, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Let me see. Let me show you. This big field right here uh, is all solar panels, and the place only sold for 3 million. Somebody did something there and scammed us out of there was a lot of people looking for that uh, property, looking to get into that property. Some of us wanted to do a movie thing there because it was actually ready and set up pretty much where we could have done movies there. Uh, but they just who are you? I'm like, hey, don't worry about who I am. I just want what's the profit, And if you're not with their little clique, uh, you ain't got a chance of getting any property or anything. You won't get anyone to help you. Um, excuse me. Closed in 1989, run by Catholic Church. Yeah, it was crazy. Well, it was open before then or after 89, Debbie. It's been open. It just closed recently. It closed after pretty much the news came out of what was going on. Yeah, it was open. They did close it, but then they reopened it, and it was open for a while. I can remember driving past there, and there'd be cadets in uniforms uh, walking around there. Um, now there ain't nobody, but we have cameras everywhere there, folks. So if you're going to go there, you're allowed to go there, but you have to check in at the front desk there, administration. And then you're allowed to drive around there and look and check the place. Oh, it's a beautiful place. It really is. Beautiful old buildings, right? Big concrete, like blocks, like stone. It's just unreal. This place is falling apart. That's why it closed. Yeah, this is an old thing, Debbie. I'm telling you, I'm here to witness. I'm here to testify for the Lord. That place didn't close in 1989. It's been up and running. Now, I don't know if they were making a movie there, but I know for a fact uh, that place closed just when I moved in here. And that was 10, 11 years ago. That's when it shut down. It was open. Like I said, they came and took our tank. There was a tank. Let me see if I can find the photo. Let me see if they can show. We had a jet right here. There was a jet right in this right here. There was a jet right on this lawn on a pedestal or a big giant steel rod, and then we had a tank that was on the corner right here. And one night, it sounded like maybe a air vac came in, and they air vaced them out. That's the only thing they could have done, or somehow they got it up onto a semi and drove off with it. Hold on, Deb. I'm looking to see if I can see. Can you see that, Debbie? Here's the church. When you're driving by, this is what you see. This this cathedral, this like real cool. You can see the buildings are real old. When you drive by on the street, the tank was right over here, and the jet was right in front here. Beautiful jet. Costs too much money to repair it, and insurance to cover it. It would be astronomical. No, the place is in really good shape. They're lying. They're lying. They said this bull crap because they held on to the property for a while. It just sold for $3 million. They were lying. None of the windows are busted out. Uh, all the concrete, all the stone blocks and everything are in beautiful condition. It's not as bad as what they said. I know that's what they said, but that's what they were saying then. That's why they shut it down, but it really wasn't shut down because of that. Like I said, it was all over the news that somebody within the teacher thing or whatever was doing something bad. No, Debbie, it's not being. Sweetie, listen to me. The place is in beautiful shape. I drive past it every day. Debbie's saying it's beautiful. It's a shame they will let Mother Nature take it, but it will happen. It won't. They still to this day keep up on the grounds. They cut the grass. They do the only thing that ain't there are the cadets. All the training stuff is there. All the you know what the firemen have to go up and down and train with the hoses. There's two of them out there. You got the track out there. You got the football field. Uh, it's kept up beautifully. I know they're gonna say it costs too much to keep up and all that, but it's in beautiful shape. It was a real estate scam, right? They were trying to get as much as they could. They wanted certain people to have it. Certain people were asking about it. What are you doing with the property? Uh, we have people interested in it. It would have been a beautiful movie place, right? I was trying to get a hold of Lucas. Uh, this would have been a beautiful place to do stuff, right? You had plenty of land. You could have built your sets. Uh, like I said, the property came with land that people don't know about. I mean, they when they purchased and did this, they bought a bunch of land. I can tell you what, I bet you I can get 2 or 3 platoons, full platoons, with all their equipment and everything on that property. That's how big it is. Literally, you can land giant helicopters and everything there. It's a big property. I do believe they even own the property across the. Let's see here. Let me show you. They own all this. They own all this. They own all this back here. You see this round circle, the track? That's a track for running. And on the other side here of this road here, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on. See this round track up in the corner? They own that. And that keeps going down. They own this over here, which is a tennis court on this side of the thing. And if you go down further, uh, I do believe there's a baseball field and shit. They did a bunch of. They might even own this land where it's dirt. But what they do is they rent it out to the farmers, and they let the farmers farm on the land, and the farmer pays them money. No, this wasn't a racial school. Debbie said the Grand Poobah. I'm sure the Grand Poobah was not operating there. No, it wasn't. This was a military cadet school. All the kids were dressed in little military uniforms. It was incredible. It was just incredible. I couldn't believe it was incredible. And each morning, these cadets would come out and they would put the flag on the flagpole and raise it. Each night, they would take the flag down. It was just incredible. And you had these little kids out there, these kids dressed as in these incredible military uniforms. It was just so incredible to see. It was just unbelievable. It was just we were proud of it. I was pissed when they took our tank and our jet. I was pissed. I was on. I think I did a couple videos. Them son of a bitches came in with a Huey and hooked it. I heard that thing come in that night. Light shining spot. I'm like, what is going on? I never thought any. I thought it was just military coming through. Right? We got a couple bases out here. But it wasn't. I think them son of a guns hooked right up to our tank airbag that flew our tank right out of here. Well, I was pissed. For 135 years it operated, but they closed because of enrollment. Something just attacked me. This is why we have to do this in Indiana, Mr. Trump, this demonic thing. We must get rid of it. It's the same thing that made us shut down this school is these sickos that got inside our school. And we are going to prosecute these YouTubers, Mr. Trump, whether they like it or your government likes it or not. But some of these people have been sending evil and attacking us. And we're going to get to them, sir. No matter what. The police, we don't go by their laws no more, Mr. President Trump. I'm sorry. We refuse to. Right? We just refuse to. The madness has gone too far. That would be a sight to see. Oh, it was unbelievable, Rebecca. These little tiny kids. Well, they weren't kids. They were probably 10, 12, 13, 14, all walking around with these military uniforms on and the hats, crisp and clean. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it's been open for a while. Like I said, it just closed. It just closed soon after when we got the news. They probably sold it to a movie star or something, right? Yeah, they're ripping us off big time. They're really this government is really ripping us off big time. They probably sold it to somebody. What are they going to do with it? I don't know. I was told a college bought it. So it might go back to being reopened, but a college bought it. So it might be a college coming in there or something. We're not sure. We're not sure. Yeah, close. See, I told you. You said it closed in 2000. I didn't read the whole documentation that's on this, but yeah, it just recently closed. It was all in the news. I was pissed. The heck you mean they're closing it? Right? It's a government cadet. It's a military school, and they got rid of it. It was the most stupidest thing they did because we could have used that school for firepower and to land and to bring troops in and all kinds of stuff. We could have turned it into a base. They probably sold it to Cat Williams. But anyways, the case goes on. They're building a huge case against the government, against the town, the people that ran the town, the churches. They're building a case of everything. Actually, people are saying they're waiting for me to move out. I'm trying to move out of this place. I'm looking for somewhere to go. I'm trying to move out. Once I get off of here, out of the town area, um, then they'll probably handle the situation. But as of now, I'm still here at the same place, and I wanted, like I said, it was beautiful. That church would have been beautiful uh, to live in. I mean, it's all stained glass around it. Look at that. That would have been beautiful. That would have been a beautiful home. This is all stained glass, the front of it. That would have been a beautiful home. That would have been a beautiful home. No, we're letting you people out there know, you rich people out there, it ain't your money. You raped and pillaged and stole and stepped all over people to get that money. Really, it's the American people's money. So I think what they're saying is they're going to start coming after these rich dudes, right? They're like, the king died thousands of years ago. We don't live in times of medieval times where the king took everything from the people. You know, only the rich survive or whatever. So they're going to hit these rich people and they're going to get our money back, right? We're going to get our money back. Yeah, it was an incredible, beautiful place. And, till this day, it's still a beautiful place. It really is. Now, of course, I would take a power washer and I would power wash the brick, the stone. Them are giant granite stone blocks. I wish I can zoom in. I wish they had a closer. It's just beautiful. It's like medieval times. It's just a beautiful place. I would have bought it and turned one of them places into a house, or that building right there that you're looking at into a house. It was just beautiful. It's even got them light posts. Debbie, you see the light posts around there? Real cool light posts and everything. No, I think some of the stuff I got in my shed is probably from the the military school. I think the people started cleaning it out or whatever, and you can find this stuff in garage sales and thrift stores. I think I got a Howell Military School coffee mug that I got from a garage sale. Uh, I think a couple of the things I got were from there, and from the old church that they had out here too. Let me see what else I can find on it real quick. Let me let me put a little bit of music on while we're sitting here. Now, I have seen a couple of these buttons around, and I should go get them because they'll probably be worth a lot of money, being that these places shut down. Okay, here we go, Debbie. It says right here, running away. What's that say? Running away from how? These two people. These are the cadet uniforms they wore, Debbie. I think. I don't know about the bow tie. I don't know if they wore them. I didn't see no bow ties. Yeah, here's the baseball field, I believe. Or no, that's the tennis field. Oh, here's a whole diagram of the place. Look at how big this place is. Ah, yeah, there's the tennis rack, the tennis court I was telling you about. Boy, I'll tell you, this place had everything. Here's the inside of it. I'm telling you, it's in good condition. It's in good condition. They were telling people that crap because they didn't want somebody to come in and buy it and turn it into something. Everything in here is done with a board, right? You got to go in front of the board, and if they don't like you, they won't sell to you. If they don't think your business is gonna do good in their town, they don't do it. We're having that trouble right now. A piece of property came up on the corner here for sale, right? And people were told, no, you can't buy it, you can't buy it. But then someone from Angola with a big giant chain and a lot of money, right? Dairy Queen, which we already had a Dairy Queen out here, right? It didn't work. So someone came back with an offer from Dairy Queen and they said something about having a Dairy Queen or something, the franchise come out and buy it. So they wouldn't let anybody just buy it, right? They were holding on to it to see if they can get somebody, a franchise or something, to come in and purchase it. But there's the inside of one of the buildings, and it's I've been in there. It's a beautiful place. Sure, it needs a little bit of work. Sure, the rust is uh, you know the rust is coming through on the I beams, and you need to repaint the I beams, right? Maybe scrape it down with a scraper a little bit, and then wipe it down and paint it. All the brick is attacked. All the buildings are solid. I don't know why they sold it. I'm telling you, our government is not making good choices. They just ain't. And heck, our town is not making good choices. I mean, they could have bought this and turned it into a beautiful apartment complex. Now here's the theater that's there. I mean, it's got its own theater. It's got its own. It's got its own theater. Look at that. It actually has its own theater. There's another place that's on there. This building's on the property too. It's got its own theater. Its own stage. Now, well, I got to refill my coffee. I'll be right back. You know, I should take a couple platoons and go down there and take the property back. I'd set up a couple 50 cals around there on tripods and take the property back and claim it the American people's property. They probably would kill me, but who ain't trying to kill me these days? So, anyways, like I said, they're building a good case in Indiana. The courts are corrupt. Everything's corrupt. We're pumping everything out of Indiana because they know it's corrupt. And you can't get justice. So that's why they're doing certain things. And people are like, what is going on? Don't you worry about it. Mind your own business. Now, you see what this says? Howell Military School, Lima, Indiana. So, do they have another one in Lima? Oh, here was the dress parade. I'm going to have to check and see what Greenhouse, H.E. Howell, Indiana. Yeah, that's the beautiful greenhouse they have, W. You see that? That's on the property, too. That's a beautiful greenhouse. It says Greenhouse HS, Howell, Indiana. And that greenhouse, I believe, went all the way back here, too. It's all glass. Beautiful home, too. Yeah, that is beautiful. It still looks beautiful. Of course, look at it. Look at it. That is beautiful. It's got all these old time gas lanterns. That's gas. They converted it over now from gas to electric. Let me tell you something. If this place was in such bad shape, do you see the fire exits on the side of the buildings here? Usually, an old place like this, they're all rusted out and practically useless. But I drive past it every day and it's still functional. This actually folds up and down, I think, and it's still functional. So the place, like I said, they knew what they were doing. They put it out as it was a disaster. It was this, it was that. And they held on to it. And I think they held on to it was because of the market. At that time, the market was crashing. 2019, the real estate. We had that real estate crash. And they held on to it. And they put out, well, it's not in good condition. It's not yada, 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 yada. But it really was. And they were just waiting for either somebody they knew within their family that owned it or government or whatever to buy it. But it just recently sold, they said, for $3 million to a college. There is nothing wrong with the one you are showing. It's only closed for one reason. What are you talking about, Doug? It's in great condition. Yeah, it's in great. I told you I drive past it every single day. I drive past it every day. Yeah, it's in good condition. 3 million it's sold for. Yeah, now someone will come in and they'll start their own. This is what I think they're doing. The government is supposed. Never mind. I don't know. What are you saying, Doug? Hold on a minute. You're saying this is. There is nothing wrong with the one you are showing. It's only closed for one reason. Okay. It's in great condition. Yes, I if you would read your above comments, I am. I'm reading them now. A former graduate gave them 2 million. A former graduate of the school gave them $2 million. How did he get $2 million if he was a former graduate and just got out of cadet school? Maybe oh, that was the African American guy that I showed you, Deb. Hold on a minute. Let me show you. That must have been. Wait, where'd the photo go? It must have been on a different thing. That must have been the African American son and father that they showed on there. I can't believe it had its own amphitheater. It had its own stage and amphitheater, Debbie. Above, keep going. I am. Hold on a minute. Sorry, my bad, Johnny. Yes, it did run until 2019. Yeah, it might have even ran a little bit longer than that. It might have. I am so Graham Poobah. No, no Graham Poobah there. There is nothing wrong with the one. No, there's not. I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with it. It could have been fixed up. It might have. You would have to do like one building at a time, right? Go in, sweep it all down, rinse it all down with water, dry it all out, and then paint it, right? I imagine the inside walls are a little different than the outside. But like I said, they're building a case in Indiana against everybody, against the government, the justice system, everybody. Well, they're building a case with the Delphi stuff. They're building a case up here connected with scams and everything, and the government was, or the courts or whatever, were scamming people. Uh, the DMV is supposed to be sending out checks. I guess they were overcharging people for over 15 years or something like that. And there's numerous stuff they're building a case against. The racism, this on the news out here, Debbie. It's been on the news numerous times that some white race took over Indiana, white race or something, and they're trying to take over America. Some white organization or something, and that was on the news. I'm not lying about that. They were saying some white organization is trying to take over Indiana, and it wasn't the KKK. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? If it's not the KKK, then we got real troubles, right? If there's another organization trying to take over America or Indiana or whatever. So they're building a pretty good case against the court system and the justice system and Indiana, period. Plus, we're going to hit them with a lawsuit for letting these people create ricin and anthrax in their basement of their houses and garages or whatever. And even here, once that story cracked, once that story cracked on the news, I ain't joking you, there was probably 30 to 50 pounds of Castro beans in the lobby people were putting up in bags. I walked into the lobby. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, they're giving these bags away for free. The lady down the hall or someone down the hall. I'm like, what are they? Right? They're like Castro beans. I'm like, Castro beans. And then it clicked. And motherfuckers are extracting Castro right here in these apartments. Castro oil, which will kill you. That'll kill you. Is that the real or a movie? What do you mean, Deb? For what? Is that for real? No, that's for real. The Castro beans are for real. That is for real. It was all over the news there. It was all over the news. Some white race down south here in Indiana was making ricin and homemade anthrax or whatever that they were trying to make out of dairy. You know, people don't realize there's anthrax in dairy. I know. People just don't realize that in dare poop and everything, there's anthrax. And there's anthrax in dare meat. There's numerous diseases. Tuberculosis was real big out here in the dare. They were telling people don't eat the dare. If you're hunting dare, kill it and bring it to a place, and they'll switch it out with good meat. But yes, Debbie, the Castro beans was true. That was true. And once that story broke on the news, like I said, there was all kinds of Castro beans in it. They're like ricin. I'm like, yeah, that's what they make ricin out of. That kills people. Right? It was all loaded up on the lobby table out there. I'm like, oh, someone doing something. I never heard of even eating Castro beans. I've never had Castro beans. I mean, I've had green pea, like for green pea soup, kidney beans, uh, navy beans, but never Castro beans. No, no one came in. People called, but nobody showed up. The police were like, we're not going around there. It's poison. And the police don't come here too much unless you keep calling them 5 times, right? Then they'll come out. So 2 beans would kill you. Yeah, they were killing. What do I think? They were killing people. This was a house, a den for a little horror shop or something, whatever it was, or whoever was running the show. Deader than dead. Yeah. Well, a couple people died here. I can tell you that. They're also looking for a couple ambulance drivers or something. It was kind of crazy. They would come get these people in an ambulance. We're like they're rats. Either they're rats or they're the guys that are cooking this rice and here in this. And on the other side of the apartment, they were cooking the meth. And I said, these dudes are rats because either that or the government's paying them because they show up in ambulances would show up here. We got to get them out of here. Pew, pew, pew. My God, what happened? And they would be gone for a couple hours and then they'd be back. I'm like, the dude's either he's a rat or he's getting paid from that government, these people to do this shit. And they would be back the next day, right? Good God, I thought they said you died and everything. No, I'm perfectly fine. What the hell they get? They put you in an ambulance to go and drive somewhere or something. And like it was crazy. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. This place, when I first moved in here, none of this stuff was going on. When Kevin and Michelle ran this place, we didn't have these people. They used to do background checks there. You weren't allowed to live on this property if you had a bad record. So they used to do records here, background checks. Uh, but after Kevin and Michelle uh, left, a new place took over, Landmark or something they're saying, and it just they just let anybody come in, no background checks, nothing, and then it just went to shit. Right then, you had the Castro beans popping up everywhere, and people getting sick, and them not spraying the property properly, numerous things. It was just horrible. And then we caught them paying people to lie, to cover it up, just like what we're looking at now here at the cadet school. Now it was all in the news and in the paper that a teacher, uh, uh, a teacher that was working at the cadet school was doing something bad to the kids, and that's pretty much when it shut down after that. But I think they got people to lie about that too. I think they were paying these people. These people, how are they paying them? They're giving them new cars and stuff like that, getting loans for cars and stuff. These people would do this, and then they'd come back and they'd have a new car. I was like, what the heck is going on? So it was just corruption. It was corruption all the way 100%. It is sad that this place had to shut down. It could have been something good, right? And at that time that this place was running, we didn't. Our crime was pretty low, but it ain't no more. Now the sirens are going off all the time. People are being ran over. Amish people, buggies are being hit, and it's just crazy. I really like this house with the front porch that's all glass, and then and here's the front of it. This house was beautiful. I mean, it just they did let it go. They did let some of the property go. Weeds grew around it or whatever. But then someone came in and started cleaning it all, and it looks the same as what you're going to see in this photo here now. Let me see. I don't know. I lost my place. I don't know. But like I said, the case is going on. Numerous cases being built. Let me see. What's Debbie saying? How are they selling them on Amazon? Selling what, Deb? Deader than a doornail. Selling what? Castro beans? Yeah, Castro beans. Are you talking about that? Yeah, how they do this is they boil down Castro beans and they extract the oil in it. And that oil is poisonous. So that oil floats to the top of the water, right? And they skim it off, right? And then they create their anthrax from the research I've been doing on it out of that. And that'll kill you. It absorbs into your skin and it'll attack your stomach and so it's crazy what these people were doing. I don't know how they would eat them. That's what I was asking. I'm like, that Castro beans, that's made from ricin. That ricin is in it. It's got a high content of ricin. That'll kill you. Who's eating this stuff? And I think they were telling people or somebody was that it's perfectly normal to eat or whatever. I don't know. I can get 50 seeds for 7.49. What do you use it for? I mean, if the stuff will kill you, what do you use it for? Grow into the rich. The what? The rhinus plant. I don't know what's that, Debbie. Post it. Can you post it? Castro beans. Are they deadly? Are Castro beans deadly? Yeah. Well, we reported it to the office, call the office, and there's nothing we could do about it, right? It was just they didn't want to handle the blame. They didn't want to understand. We were like, well, now you're being investigated. You can't do that. Well, we are because you own the property. You should have security. You should be watching your property. It's a government funded property. Uh, and now you are being investigated, and they're like, you can't, you fucking, well, that's the way it rolls, baby. If you don't like it, jump ship and go somewhere else. Leave the town or whatever. But this town is being investigated, whether they like it or not. It's like the Delphi case. Well, we kicked the FBI off of the case. Yeah, yeah, sure you did. Sure you did. And they're going to listen to you, right? Because they're federal and they have more power than a police officer. And you're telling them they're not going to investigate the Delphi case. What a bunch of idiots. I mean, I'm dumb. I'm a complete idiot, but I ain't that dumb. You don't tell the federal government we don't need you guys on this one. You can just leave. It was supposed to be equal housing opportunity. It was supposed to be a lot of things, but when you get the wrong people that move in, uh, you get the wrong people that move in, and they were taking advantage of people. They were taking advantage of people with medication. Hell, they were stealing their medication. I stopped taking my medication. I didn't want. I came home one day. My door was. I just put the key into the door handle, and the dang door handle came off. So I was like, yeah, I'm not stop taking medication. I'm not gonna have no medication here. I'll use other things to try and deal with my depression and disability or whatever. And yeah, Zanzibar Castro beans, wildflower flower seeds. Those sound really cool. I don't know. I've never seen them. I didn't know castor beans. I'm going to be honest with you. I had no idea castor beans were poisonous. Thank God I didn't eat any of them. But that might have been what they were doing with them was cooking them. Or, I don't know. They might have been feeding them to people here, telling them it was soup or something. Growing the plant and ornamental or crop is not illegal, but extracting and concentrating ricin from it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it was all over the news they were doing. Like I said, once that broke, people were getting rid of the ricin beans or whatever they're like little beans. I'm telling you, there was probably 30, 40 pounds of it on the table in the lobby out here. I went to go check the mail and I came out. There was a whole bunch of bags of beans everywhere. I'm like, what is going on? Oh, you can have them for free. Really? I'm like, I don't eat casserole beans. I don't know. I've never tried them. I don't like them. I've heard of navy beans, green beans, and all that kind of stuff, but not casserole. Thank God I didn't take them. Yeah, just complete nut jobs. Just complete nut jobs. Like I said, we got, some of these people were saying, I thought it was me. I was getting ready to move out. I'm like, what is going on around here? What is going on? Ever since Michelle and Kevin left, what happened? right? These people were going crazy, yelling about some guy John, and I'm like, I haven't done nothing to these people. Well, it turned out there was two other people that lived on the other side of the complex that were named John. So being that I'm named John, it was like everyone was coming at me. I'm like, I have no idea what you people are talking about, right? At that time, I was working, and I wasn't even here most of the time. And John did this, John. I'm like, I didn't do anything. What are you people doing? And it just hit me like a ton of brick. And I was like, no, I'm not. You're not going to scam me. And I don't. And then they blame me for tearing out someone's flowers. And I'm like, I didn't tear anybody's flowers out. I don't know what you people are talking about. Well, I guess it was some other guy, John, on the other side. And I'm like, yeah, well, why are you bitching at me and complaining to me and blaming me? So the case is getting bigger, right? The case is getting bigger. The investigation is getting bigger to these people. And we are building a big case. I say we got a case. Huge. Uh, yeah, it's just unreal. The director of research of Massachusetts was charged with buying 800 beans to extract poison. Yeah, I thought I was right. That's exactly what they were doing. That's exactly what they were doing. And in return, they will be hit with the real ricin from the government. Right? Hey, it's only right, folks. You did this to us. I mean, we had no idea what was going on. That's probably why people were sick. Yeah, we want full justification. And you ain't gonna you're not cutting me a check for $1,500 and say, here, no, you better put like 1.50 million or 1.500 or something, because my life, I make the price of my life. Not no court, not no anybody. I make the price. Right? When the money is right, then I'll disappear after I get the money. But this ain't no grab for money. This is a case we're gonna smack you in the face with. That's what we're doing. And we'll continue to do it. Beautiful beautiful bean seeds, I must say. Yeah, they got like a black tiger in them or something, like black spots on them or something, right? Or like a black line or something on them. Like a, they're like a grayish, brownish color, and then it's got like stripes or something in them. At least that's what the Castro beans did that they were giving away for free here. I mean, when you go into a restaurant, do you ever see Castro bean soup? I don't. I've never heard of Castro bean soup or anything. They're terrorists. They don't want to admit it. Everyone's, oh my God, do you have people living there from other countries? No, these are honkies. They're honkies. They're white. Uh, there ain't too many African Americans around here. There ain't too many Hispanics around here. And we like it because we don't want the madness. We've already found people in the fields killed. They were saying it was these people that were coming in from Mexico to crops or whatever out here. Yeah, we don't want it in our town, right? And I'm not racist. We just know that if you bring other people in, surely the gangs and the corruption will follow. And that's exactly what we're trying to keep out. And now people want to say it's racist. And we're like, no, we're dealing with our own sickos, with our own color here, right? We don't need more color to come in and different colors or whatever and create a madness. So the things got to be done this way, Mr. President Trump. I'm sorry you don't understand what has been put in our laps, but we have a job to do, and that's protect our country uh, at all cost, Mr. President Trump. And that's what we are doing, sir. And we will continue to do in our own country until we go back to normal, until justice is served and we get our redemption and our justification for what was done to us. There is no safe way to eat them. Do not eat them or let your pets eat them. Yeah, that's what I told these people. They called me a liar. And then they sent their preacher down here and he started telling, and then he called me a liar. I was going to go get my gat and drop him right where he stood. But at that time, I didn't. I just moved in here and I didn't want to cause trouble. And he called me a liar. He was a preacher, right? Jones or whatever his name was. Came here with some Hispanic dude, short, older Hispanic dude and a kid, shorter kid. And I'm here to talk to you about God. I'm like, I'm saved, brother. Don't worry about it. Amen. Have a good day. God bless you. And God is the only way. And that mother, he looked right at me and he said, "You're a liar." And I said, "Sir, I think you should leave. There's no soliciting here, right?" He said, "You're a liar." I slammed the door. I said, "I got cleaning to do." At that time, I was cleaning my walls, spraying them down with 409 and wiping my walls out. And I was in the middle of doing this, right? I was doing it as he knocked on my door. I opened up the door. He could see I was busy doing cleaning stuff. And, I said, "God bless. Thank you for stopping." I was really polite. But when he called me a liar, then I was like, "Sir, I'm busy today." And I slammed the door. Right. Right. And then we found out, well, them are from our church. I said, "Listen, this is a government operated facility. If people want to go to the church, they'll go to the church. Don't come knocking at our doors, harassing us. It's a non soliciting." And they said, "Well, it ain't no more. New people are running it." And I said, "Listen, you go tell your new people that there's no soliciting here. Keep your effing dogs on a chain. There's rules here. Pick up your dog crap. We don't have to do nothing." Well, then don't. Don't do shit. We know the people in the office. Well, go tell the people in your effing office to get ready because we're coming for them. You can't do that. And you can't kill people, bitch. You can't kill people. Now, there's effing rules here. If you're going to walk your dog, walk it on a chain. If it craps, pick up the crap. You got the wrong people running this country. What you need is a ball buster Billy Club. Bring you back to Hoffa days where he built an empire on a Billy Club and his balls. And that's what we're going to do here, Mr. Trump, President Trump, whether these people like it or not. You can't do that. They were these people. Some of these people are vets. Yeah, that don't give them the right to kill people. And that don't give them the right to do whatever they want. Being that they're United States military vets, they should know there's rules. And then they killed me. Like I said, don't worry. We got 20 years going back of everybody that lived here. They will be hunted down. They're like, these people are leaving. I'm like, they can leave, but we're still tracking. We don't hold hostages, right? I'm being held hostage here myself, but we don't hold hostages. The Kramers don't hold hostages. You can leave, but that don't mean we ain't gonna hunt you down, because we are, and we do have all the information. And if that information comes up missing, and compared to the information that we took from our insider, well, now you boys, we're going into war, whether you like it or not. And that's no shit. I'm telling you, they're preparing. We're digging tunnels underground. We're placing stuff everywhere. But they're going into war, whether they like it or not. They can stop it. They can pay me my restitution. They can give me back my health and my talent, and my guitar talent, and my voice and everything. Till then, if you're marked, you're marked. There ain't nothing going to save you. And then they wanted to say I sold drugs. I'm like, I don't sell drugs. I'll literally kill you if you try and think that I'm selling drugs. I don't sell drugs. My family don't sell drugs. And just for saying that is why you got hit, bitch. And we ain't done yet. Take that and put it in your pipe and smoke it. No, the plant itself is not toxic, Deb. You're right. It's the bean that plant produces that is very toxic. Now, why they had 30, 40 pounds of it around here, I have no idea what the fuck they were doing around here. I really don't care. Well, the only thing I care about is making sure we stomp the living crap out of all of them. If we have to, get rid of them all and bring in new people, whatever it may be. We know we connected it to certain people. These people that were running it at one time were good people. I don't know what happened to them people. They quit. I think Michelle quit, and Kevin already had a job. I heard Kevin died. I think Kevin died. Kevin was a good maintenance guy. If something was wrong, you called the office. They would get a hold of Kevin, and Kevin would be out here the next day after he got off his job. He was working two jobs. But I heard recently that Kevin passed away. Now I don't know if that's true. They said he had some kind of an illness. And I was like, yeah, go imagine. Yeah, imagine that. So, like I said, when I first moved in here, 2000, I think it was before the school closed. 2000, I don't know. It was year 2000 and something when I moved in here. It was way before the school closed, the military school closed. I think I was here probably in 2013, 14. Moved here. I think if I can remember correctly, 2015 or something. It grows in pods and the devil's trumpets. Yeah. Well, I didn't know much about it, and I was like, I've never heard of anybody eating it. I've never seen it on a menu at a restaurant, right? I've never seen Castro bean soup or and it was kind of weird to me when I walked down in the lobby and seen all these bags of Castro beans, and I'm like, what is this stuff? And they're like, oh, that's free. You could take it. It's good. But I don't think they were eating it here. And the place used to stink. The hallways would just stink of sun. I think it was that Castro shit they were making, or meth, one of them. Yeah, it's on the country place side or countryside apartment. The other, it trickled over onto this side. They were all the people were complaining that live in this side of the apartment complex that these people from the other side of the complex were coming over on this side and their dogs were crapping all over the place and just doing all kinds of crap. Uh, Here, I'll show you what side they were talking about. But it twinkled over, it trickled down to this side, right? And then they let some bikers move in. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can hear the music playing down here. And all the old ladies would come down here banging on my door. Can you do something? I'm like, what's going on? Some guy moved in down there and his radio's blaring. And before I can even get to the lobby, I can hear the music just bum, bum, bum. I went and banged on the door. Nobody answered, right? I'm like, the only thing you could do is call the police. We're not calling the police. They were petrified. They were like, the police come here and nothing gets done. And then one lady was telling me, the police are not allowed on this property. Johnny, you can't call the police on this property. I'm like, what in the F is going on? And this was like every other day they were down here knocking on the door. That guy down the hallway is gone crazy. He's playing his music loud. No one would call the police. No one. These are old people. And I'm like, call the police. Let them know. We're not calling the police. It was all a racket. It was all a scam. Like I said, we want documentation for the past 20 years of these properties. These three. There's three properties, three apartments right in a row. We want all the documentation of every single person that lived here. If you don't, we're going to hit you because that's proven fact you're guilty. You don't want us to have the information of who was living here. Now, I've already caught a couple pedos. I've already caught a couple gangsters, madmen, right? Of course, the police came and picked them up. I was here that day. About 7 of them drew their guns. Come out of here. He's like, get back in the apartment, John. All right, I'm back in here, baby. I ain't going out there. So we want restitution. We're not stopping until we get it. We're not going through no course. Just come knock on my door, drop off a bunch of money. We'll call it even. I'm out of here. You won't hear from me again. Till then, we're making our stand. We're patriots. They're testing it. They're using it. Debbie says it cures jaundice, fever, swelling, arthritis. But how? How can something that'll kill you cure you of these things? It don't make sense. It 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 cures it because it kills you. You're cured. I'm cured. Yes, but the bad news is you're dead. Well, it's sad what happened. I don't know what happened to this town. Like I said, it was not like this. It was not like this. And I think I could pretty much pinpoint to when this happened. I can pretty much pinpoint when this happened. No, Debbie, that's the cure. Debbie's laughing now. Now, don't you laugh, little lady. That is the cure to jaundice, fever, swelling, arthritis, colic. Yes, you're cured of it, but you're also dead now because it's a poison bean. It's probably the bean that was used and given to Jack, the beanstalk dude. I think Trump's out in Indiana looking for Jack Smith. He, yeah, President Trump wants to tear a hole, new asshole in the Smiths. Jack Smith. I don't know who he is. I don't really care. But Trump's pissed. I'd be pissed too, Mr. Trump. These Indiana's gonna have to pay some money. You know, Mr. Trump, President Trump, I was on my way to being signed and being something, and these people deliberately stole my life, tried to kill me. I was on my way to be something, Mr. Trump. I was on my way so much so that Social Security said, Johnny, when you make it, will you call us? I said, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I will call you guys. I would gladly be off disability because I'm not allowed to have anything on disability. And they said, okay, call us if you make it big. And I'm like, what's making it big? 2, 3 million, maybe 5. Well, sure, I'll come off disability. I shouldn't have to come off disability having 5 million because our Congress and senators are on disability and they got millions. Of course, they don't get too much in Social Security, but they got 5 million, 6 million, and they still get a Social Security check or a disability check. So how much is in it for me? I don't care. Like I said, pay me my money, my restitution. These people deliberately wrecked my life because I was on my way to be something. And I want restitution, President Trump. Indiana court system. Uh, these people went so far to set us up. They went that far to set us up, to get us a record showing that we were bad people, when really we weren't. We even caught them making fake reports, Mr. Trump, President Trump. Debbie Fox said, I'm cured. Yes. Yes, but you're not alive. I'm really sorry. We did cure your jaundice and flu like symptoms and colic and everything. But in return, you're dead. I'm sorry. She's laughing her little butt off. But it's true. Yeah, fall over dead. It's just, we cured him. You sure did. So much he's gone on to meet the maker. Yeah, like I said, they brought in all kinds of shit and all kinds of people. The place went nuts. It went crazy. They were blaming all kinds of people. I'm like, I don't run this place. Don't come here. You people are harassing me, right? Nobody's going to help us and everything. Call the police. And then you call the police and they blame you. The police act like they're, I'm like, hey, I'm calling for these people down the hall. Something's going on with some guy down there. I don't know. He might be a vet. I'm trying to talk to the guy. He won't answer the door. The music's pounding, right? They get here and they're like, well, if you call again, we're going to have to come and take you away. I'm like, yeah, get your effing vest on because if you even harass me or pull me over again, we're going into full scale war in LaGrange, Indiana. And I told the older people, I said, I can't call the police no more for you guys. I'm sorry. Why? I'm like, they said they'll come and get me. They'll arrest me if I call the police again. So you're on your own. Don't even harass me. Don't even come knock at my door for anything. So I didn't call the police. I'll only call the police if I have to for myself, just to let them know I'm going to kill this guy. So just letting you guys know. Just letting you know that. These guys are going bye-bye. So that's what I did. I called them and said, we're under attack. Sorry. Hung up the phone. If you're not going to do your job, get the F out of my town. If you're going to be corrupt, get out of my town. We'll hit you one by one. We don't give a shit. A great man told me we can't take on this whole world, but one at a time will kill them. And that's what we did to you folks. Now come on and bring your madness and your war. Let's get it going. We're already prepared, right? Madness. We just want to wipe. It's like when I went to go join the military and register, and I passed everything except for the mental test or whatever it was. But at that time, I had a massive concussion and problem. Um, and they couldn't use me for what I wanted to do. And we weren't at war. So they're like, well, Mr. Kramer, we do appreciate you coming in, even with your problem and wanting to be military because my family was military and everything. Actually, my grandfather took me there. And I was just like, can't you just put me in a uniform and give me a weapon and point that way and say, anyone in them uniform colors has to die. And they were like, we wish we could. We probably could use you. You were in fine shape, but your obla gobla goobla ain't all there. And I'm so, does it have to be? I mean, we're at war. It's crazy. Just put a gun in my hand and point me in the direction, and we're going to go full scale crazy. And then the recruiting officer laughed and said, it don't work that way, kid. We wish it did, but it don't. So, all right. So they couldn't take me. But I did register. I do believe in Tinley Park, Orland Park, Illinois. No, I do believe we're going to start making citizens arrests on some people out here. And they're pissed, and they're telling the police they can't do that, and oh, they can't. When the country is that corrupt and your state is that corrupt, yes, the civilians can take things into their own hands and make arrests, and the civilians can make their own police department and their own holding tank and hold these people. It's called a citizen's arrest. It's also called a citizen's investigation. There is nothing more powerful than the citizen in America. They just didn't want to listen. People are, where's this guy? I don't know. I don't know. You go find him. You get paid $150,000 a year. Go do your job. Like I said, I love God and authority with God and everything, but I don't like uh, authority at all anymore. I love God, but I just don't like authority. Right? I was ran through the ringer. There was a movie made about when I was younger and picked up by the police, me and my girlfriend. That's true. Did I make anything off of it? Not a dime. But that was my story. It was a horrible night. They did things they shouldn't have done. Yes, I threatened the cop, but there was no reason for that cop to undress my girlfriend and search her when he was the only cop in the trailer. But people don't listen. And when you don't listen, things happen, right? Don't touch our women, don't touch our children. And at that time, I was just a young teenager, right? Yeah, I threatened a lot of people after that night. Yeah, I looked at police differently, right? Yes, they targeted me and were pulling me over for all kinds of stuff. All because of that one night. And I told people, and they looked at it. They're like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? A trailer?" I'm like, "It was a effing trailer. It was out there in Palos Hills. We were coming home from the Poconos on graduation night. We were all partying. I was driving home. Got pulled over, and this cop, there was a cop, He was dressed like a cop. Took us to this trailer. And they're like, was anyone else there? I'm like, no, it was just a trailer. It looked like a police thing. It had benches, chains, rooms, but it was a trailer, an effing house trailer. They didn't like that. They were, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that really happened. That was a true. I think, who did that movie? I think it was the one movie with, I forget. I forget what movie that was, but yeah, that was based on one of my stories, my altercation with the police. They just don't like me, right? They don't like me. That's okay. But it don't get, their authority. That's right. But it don't give them the right to do whatever they want because they stand behind a badge. No, I don't know what happened to that cop. I heard he retired. That's what I heard. I heard he retired. They forced him out or whatever. But after that, I know the mother of my girlfriend at that time was very pissed. She's like, I want you to sit me down. I want you to tell me what's going on, Johnny. I'm like, I'll explain everything to you. And I told her, and she said, you got to be kidding. I said, no, I threatened the cop. I told him I was going to kill him if he touched my girlfriend. He was undressing her looking for stuff. And she's like, oh my God. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but there was no other cops there. We were screaming for help in the so-called trailer, police trailer in Payless. Uh, and nobody was there. It was just me, my girlfriend, and that cop. That was it. No one else. I told him, don't touch my girlfriend, don't question her, don't do anything. She's my girlfriend. And he's like, well, what? Where are you? He's asking all these questions. I'm like, hey, listen, it's graduation night. We were out with a bunch of people. We were at a hotel. We were drinking. You know, it's the next day. I'm coming home, or the next night. We're coming home. I'm not drunk. I wasn't drunk or anything. And I got pulled over for a cracked windshield. I got pulled over for a cracked windshield, and the guy took me in for a cracked windshield. He took my girlfriend in too. And that's when the madness started. And I lost control. I literally almost ripped the bench out of the thing. At that time, I was in great shape, sports and everything. Uh, and yes, I did threaten him. I did tell him his days are numbered. And if you don't like it, oh well. Don't mess with our girlfriends at a young age, and don't mess with our children. I don't know what to tell you. Payless Hills, Illinois. I do believe it was Payless Hills out there by the Poconos. Yeah, they like to control. Anyways, like I said, did I do anything to the cop? No, I didn't do anything. They were coming down on me so hard. I was just 17, 18 years old. They were coming down. They were pulling me over every single day. They were just harassing the shit out of me. Uh, After that incident, right? Because as soon as I got out of there, I was telling my parents and everything, um, and they didn't believe me. They're like, "Oh, Johnny, quit with the stories." And that's when my girlfriend said, "Excuse me, he is not lying. That cop was a sicko, right?" And I told my mother, I said, "Don't worry about it, Mom," because she didn't care about stuff. She just was pissed that I got pulled over. And she had to come get me late at night. Her and my stepdad were pretty pissed off. Right? My girlfriend was like, I can't believe your parents are mad at you after what you went through. I'm like, I can't believe it either, but it's obvious they weren't on my side. But my girlfriend actually stood up to my mother and said, "No, he's not lying, Mrs. Kramer. He's not lying at all." Ever since then, my life was wrecked. Maybe that's what Margot was talking about last night on that video with me. She's like, "Your life, you actually have been through shit." Yeah, I've been through shit, a lot of shit. She's like, "At a very young age, your whole life was wrecked." And I was like, "Yeah, that's why I was listening to her." I was like, "You are correct. Keep going. I'm listening to you." She's like, "I can't believe," she's looking, she goes, "Oh my God, they did this to you." I'm like, "Yeah, they did. They did. Did I get paid anything? No. I'm holding their whole country hostage. Yeah, it was the Chicago area. I don't know, maybe about 30, 40 miles out of the city. I lived on the outskirts of the city. We used to live close into the city of Chicago, but my father, a great man, uh, and my family, my grandfathers and grandmother, we moved outside the city to a little place called uh, Oak Lawn, Tinley Park, Orland Park area, Summit, Argo, uh, little places outside. And then we moved from Oak Lawn in Cicero area to Orland Park, and that's where I grew up at. Went to school there. Started my kindergarten there. My grammar school was at Grissom J. And then I went into the high school in that area, Tinley Park, Orland Park, Victor J. Andrew, Lightning Bolt High School. We were wrestlers and football players and sports uh, junkies, right? That's what we did: football, wrestling, sports, baseball, whatever. That's what we did. Dirt bikes. At that time, around the high school, it was all cornfields. That was a brand new high school they just built, uh, Victor J. Andrew High School, and it was all cornfields around there. We used to just ride our bikes, dirt bikes, go karts. It was unincorporated area. It was beautiful. It was a little subdivision. Uh, it was beautiful growing up there, but even inside the subdivision, it was still crazy. Hey, how you doing, Ricardo? Yeah, it all started then. And then I just lost all respect for everything. Anything with authority that I thought were. I put these people up on pedestal because my family around me were military police, yada yada, Air Force, and that was the time when everybody turned against me because I told the truth, and that's when uh, I lost my respect for authority. And people were like, "Oh my God, this happened to this guy." Oh well, this happened to it. Oh well, not my problem. I lost my authority at one time. If a police officer told me to do something, I did it. If a military, a veteran or whatever, told me to do something, I did. I took orders. But at a certain part in my life, after I was just getting railroaded, I was like, "F your authority and F your whole demonic thing." And I changed. I was like, "I don't want nothing to do with these people." And I walked away, and I didn't do anything bad to retaliate. I just looked at these people as differently. They're not who they think they are. They're not who they say they are. And I went on my own. I went on my own. I was out of my house at a young age. My parents divorced when I was like 17, 16, and I was out of there. That was it. Boom. I left that area because they were just harassing the shit out of me. That whole area, right? It was like the Payless police followed me to where I lived. And it was just unbelievable. we lived up there on the outskirts, Oak Lawn, Bridgeview. Uh, that's where my grandmother. I used to sit on my grandmother's apartment balcony and watch the movies for free. The Sheridan Drive-In was right across the street from her apartment complex, and I used to sit on the patio on her balcony. She was on the third floor, on the top floor, and it was a beautiful view. And we used to watch movies for free. You couldn't hear them, but you could see them. You could see the movie for free. So I loved staying at my grandmother's house because I got to see free movies, right? And she'd be like, "It's getting late. It's time to go to bed, Johnny." "All right, Grandma." Right? And then I come off of the balcony and go to bed or everything. But I used to go there when I was a kid, younger, before I was a teenager and moved in with her there. But when I was younger, she used to babysit me too, and we would go there and watch the movies. Right? We'd all sit out on the balcony with Grandma, all curled up in blankets, and we'd watch the movies. I had relatives in Calumet City. Ah, Calumet. And it's over there by the Calumet Calsag River, ain't it? We used to call it Calsag. Calsag River. I always threw up when we got about the Gary and the factory smell. Well, Argo corn products. If you lived in the Summit, Argo area, you had Argo corn products. I don't know what the smell. Oh my God, it would just reek. It would just reek out there in Summit. I don't know what it was. It was just it was some kind of corn products place, or I don't know. It just smelled like, or maybe it was a treatment plant or something. I think it was Argo corn something. My God, it's been so long. I know one thing they had great in Summit was Summit Burritoville. The burritos were the size of footballs. It was unreal. Well, little by little, this country is deteriorating. The laws, the justification, nothing's being done. And when nothing gets done, people take things into their own hands, and that explains the madness. That explains why things are happening the way they are in America. It makes me proud to be a Hoosier. I don't know. I lived in Chicago, and people say, "Oh, Chicago's horrible." Well, it depends on where you were at. And uh, Indiana is just as crazy, right? I mean, if you ask me, these people are just as crazy, if not more. See, it was almost like the neighborhood, the subdivision we lived in. Most of the parents there were retired military. They all did military time. So the whole subdivision was pretty much military families, right? We all went to school at the same schools, at Victor J. Andrew High School. You know, it was all military people, ex-military, or their families were joining military. But I can tell you this much: there was even problems within that subdivision, right? Even some of these military guys were crazy, and you had to put up with that, right? Yeah, I loved growing up out there in Chicago and Illinois, on the outskirts and everything, and I loved going to high school. Although I had a brain problem, I was in slower classes, but I did play sports. At that time, I didn't know I had a massive concussion and continued to play football. Uh, and we were fairless. We didn't have no fairs. We were jumping off of stuff with our bikes that people were. I broke a frame. I broke a frame on a bike, split it right in half, jumping off of picnic tables. Well, we set a whole bunch of picnic tables up that were at the park, and we would make jumps and everything. And my cousin just got a brand new bike, and I'm like, "Let me use your bike, dude. I'm gonna jump all this stuff." And I snapped his frame right in half. Snapped it right in half. He's like, "My God, my mom's gonna kill me." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Snapped it right in half. You know, people are saying all these people doing flips on bicycles and everything. We were doing that back in the 70s, early 70s, or late 70s, I would say. 70s, 80s, before all this stuff came out of these guys doing backflips and everything. And there was guys I was hanging out that were doing them backflips off of small hills that we built out there in the cornfields. We would pile up a bunch of dirt, make our own ramps. I remember Ricky Matthews was doing backflips 15 years before these guys that you're seeing on. That's what we did in the suburbs. We just tore shit up everywhere. Dirt bikes and everything. Right? The guys I looked up to when I was a young teen, these guys were all just getting out of the military, or they were neighborhood uh, football players. The guys in our neighborhood would get together on the weekend, and they would go out to the field down the street from the subdivision, and they would play football. And all of us younger dudes would go out there and watch them play. And then all these younger guys, I remember Kenny Campbell got himself a. These were all older dudes, right? 10 years older, 20 years older than us. But we hung around with them because they were like our heroes, right? They were the neighborhood heroes. And I can remember Kenny Campbell getting his brand new dirt bike and doing a wheelie probably 5 blocks long. I was like, oh my God, check that out. And every time that dude would get his dirt bike out and go to the field, all of us kids would get on our bike and follow him to the field so we can watch him ride. And the dude would just be tearing it up, man. They were like our heroes. I mean, watching these guys, that's what got us into motorcycle riding. That's what got us into all this crazy stuff that we did. Right? I was so good on a dirt bike, on a BMX bike, I could ride circles up and down in a circle on a wheelie. People were like, "How are you doing that?" I just go in a circle. on a back tire. We were jumping garbage cans. We were jumping anything. We were jumping mailbox. We were jumping everything. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. We would go take neighbors' garbage cans and line them up in my grandpa's driveway when my grandpa went to work. When we first moved in out there, our house wasn't ready. It was just being built. And we were staying at my grandfather's a couple blocks away. And we would just take everybody's garbage can and line them up in my grandfather's driveway. And we would jump garbage cans. Probably about 10, 20 of us. We'd line up the garbage cans and just jump over them. Oh, you use cinder blocks? Yeah, we use that too. Cinder blocks to make ramps? Sure. Sure. Anything was a ramp. We'd set a piece of 3/4 plywood up on a picnic table, nail it down to the picnic table, 8-foot sheet of 3/4 plywood, and then line up the picnic tables and jump the picnic tables. We were little madmen. Even the grown-up dudes that we were hanging out with were going, these kids got balls. We didn't care. We'd put our helmets on and run into brick walls purposely just to see who could split their helmet first. Oh my God, Lou, I've been on this thing for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Anyways, folks, we're building a case against the country, the world, everybody. We want justification, redemption, whatever it's called, justice. We want our healths back. I agree with Bobby Kennedy. I agree 100%. Most people would want just their health. Exactly. I would love to have my health back. Right? We all would. We all would love to have our health back. But you can't get there with doctors that are not, they're not here to heal us. They're actually here to kill us, probably, from other countries, whatever it may be. Yeah, just the evil. I do want to thank the Lord for another day. All glory goes to God. I want you folks to have a great day. Let me see what Debbie Fox. What happened? Did you get in trouble for breaking the bike? Yes. Yes, Deborah. And if my cousin's still out there watching, sorry about that bike, dude. I know it was a brand new, and actually it was a 10-speed. I was the first one to jump on it with a 10-speed. 10-speed bike that's not made for jumping, but at that time I didn't know. I got in trouble for everything. Well, I was walking home one day with one of my buddies. We got in a fight. I broke his mailbox or lunchbox. Actually, he broke his lunchbox, hitting me. Right? And his mother, we became best friends after that. I ain't shitting you. We became best friends. His nickname was Duke. Him and his mother came over and was telling my mother, your son did this. And I'm like, he hit me with his lunchbox. And I got in trouble for that, right? But I ain't shitting you. The next couple days, we became best friends. We were just kids. And actually, I packed up and split to Florida. I went out to Florida with my buddy and his wife. Well, at that time, they were just his girlfrienders. No, wait, I think they were married. The same kid that I got in a fight with when I was younger, we became best friends, and I actually split Illinois and went out to Florida building decks and putting sidings on and building homes in Florida for like 2 years. Uh, and then I came back. It went dry out there. The work went dry. There was no work. Sears Roebuck shut down. We were working for Sears Roebuck doing siding and decks, putting decks on homes. That shut down. So we did do jobs on the odds and ends for people building decks and siding, but then it just dried up in Florida, and we left. I came back to Illinois. I had fun when I was out there, and I got one heck of a great, incredible tan in Florida. And I'm not going to lie, there were some beautiful women out there in Florida. I was right off the sponge docks, Tarpon Springs. And once in a while, we'd head down to Clearwater Beach, hang out in Clearwater Beach. All right. We got a beautiful day out here. I got to clean up around here. I also need to call my mother, call the family and check in on them, see how they're doing. Enjoy this beautiful day, folks. It's not too warm out, but the sun is shining, and that's good. Now, I want you folks to have a great day. Like I said, all glory goes to God. Amen. Uh, I'm not affiliated with anybody, connected with anybody. I don't go to church, but I believe in God. I believe in something good rather than something bad. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, Ricardo, you have a good day. Miss Debbie Fox, you have a good day. Yes, I got in trouble for every little thing. I even got in trouble for things I didn't do. But yes, and growing up in a military family, you do get punished, right? That's what happens. You get a spanking or punished or grounded or whatever. But yeah, yeah. And my one friend passed away. One of my good friends that I was like really good friends with passed away. Brain hemorrhage, I think they said. And it explains it because he had a headache every day. We thought it was the alcohol. We were drinking too much. We were just drinking too much alcohol, but brain hemorrhage. And that explains it because he used to eat aspirin like crazy. So did I. We just thought it was hangover from drinking the beer, but I want to give a shout out to Duke. He's up in heaven now. Amen. And the other friends that have passed away. Pour a little coffee out for the homies. No, I didn't pour it on my floor. I poured it in my mouth. Now, you folks have a great day. God bless. Thank everyone for coming in. And the case builds each day, bigger and bigger. More evidence, more corruption being exposed in America. God bless. Have a great day. Talk to you later.